He offered neither a shout nor an explosion of rage. He simply propelled the documents across the kitchen counter, his signature illegibly scrawled at the base. "It is finalized," he stated. "The residence is liquidated. Commence packing immediately." A profound hollow sensation consumed my chest. This was the dwelling for which I had expended my very essence, the home where every mortgage payment had originated exclusively from my personal finances, not his. My meticulous vision, painstakingly realized, was now summarily hijacked and dismissed with a casual smirk. Then came the calculated laceration. "Your brother's family is taking occupancy. Refrain from rendering this situation contentious." I stood paralyzed, the raw magnitude of the treachery igniting within, intensity exceeding any actual combustion. Yet, I neither screamed nor resorted to pleading. Instead, I immediately contacted his brother. The confusion emanating from the recipient was instantaneous. "What exactly are you referencing? We never executed a purchase agreement for your house." That was the definitive moment of understanding. The depth of the deceit was vast, and my husband, Adam, had just committed the most consequential error of his existence. Our origins were not mired in deception. Years prior, upon our initial meeting, he was charismatic, ambitious, and brimming with potential. He offered assurances of fiscal stability and genuine co-partnership. For a finite period, I truly believed his intentions. When the property was acquired, he formally designated it our dream. However, it was definitively my salary, my extended hours, and my meticulous budgetary control that ensured the integrity of the roof above us. He maintained employment, yet funds perpetually dissipated from his control. I consistently minimized its significance, prioritizing the perceived sanctity of our joint life until I unearthed concealed, late payment notifications and unpaid invoices, aggressively sequestered behind books. When I formally confronted him, he casually invalidated my concerns, assuring me he would resolve the issue. He perpetually deferred action. I was the consistent problem solver. The structural fissures in our marital foundation proliferated. Nights he failed to return, communications left unanswered, and his sudden, intense proprietorship overlocked. Briefcases and financial records he strictly prohibited my access to. Nonetheless, one internally mandated that loyalty necessitated protracted forbearance, that he was merely subjected to extreme pressure, and that love demanded resilience. Yet, the instant he declared the house sold, I recognized love had served merely as a convenient facade. Beneath it lay only cynical manipulation and unadulterated rapacity. I initiated a subsequent call to his brother, persistently seeking verifiable contractual details. He unequivocally swore no monetary exchange had occurred, nor had any legal contract been ratified, conclusively proving that Adam had entirely fabricated the narrative. The house was not transferred to his brother. Consequently, I commenced my exhaustive investigation. I retrieved our entire history of mortgage statements. I secured access to joint accounts he had foolishly presumed remained exclusively his domain. And there it lay. A second mortgage originated without my informed consent. Loans processed using both our names, featuring my signature as a clear forgery. The residence had not been liquidated. It had been financially leveraged to its absolute threshold. Every dollar systematically siphoned. He had not stolen the equity for his sibling. He had stolen it entirely for his own benefit. His overweening assumption was that I would simply capitulate and vanish quietly. I avoided an immediate confrontation. I allowed him the temporary satisfaction of believing. I was emotionally devastated, completely overcome. I packed a minimal amount of luggage, consciously abandoning the remainder, thereby permitting him to savor his premature triumph. Simultaneously, I commenced the rigorous assembly of my counterarsenal. I presented myself at the bank, furnished authenticated proof of the forged signatures, filed formal police reports, and retained specialized legal counsel focused on real estate fraud. Every legal document I meticulously uncovered, every financial withdrawal I carefully tracked, was sequentially stacked like strategic ammunition. Then, I executed the most decisive maneuver. I froze every joint financial account, every monetary resource he presumed he retained unrestricted access to was rendered inaccessible overnight. The structural collapse initiated almost instantly. His debit card was rejected at a local establishment. His mandatory car payment was returned for insufficient funds. He returned home in a volcanic state of fury, demanding immediate clarification. I maintained an unwavering composure, awaiting the precise, calculated moment of reckoning. The absolute climax arrived. When the sheriff's foreclosure notification was formally served to the front door, he violently ripped the envelope open, his face pallid, his voice reduced to a pathetic, quavering tremor. "What destructive action did you take?" I fixed my gaze upon him then, seeing him with absolute clarity, and experienced nothing beyond a powerful, tranquil certainty. "I did not sell the residence, you did. You fraudulently replicated my legal signature. You intentionally depleted all the available capital. And now, Every financial asset you believed you commanded is rightfully under judicial control, he stuttered, desperately attempting to manipulate the narrative, trying to brand me as vindictive. Yet every assertion he made disintegrated beneath the crushing weight of factual evidence. I leaned in closely, my voice perfectly regulated, almost benign. You forcibly expelled me from my legitimate property. Now, you will bear witness as strangers take occupancy. Not your sibling, not your family only, unrelated third parties. And this absolute disaster is solely attributable to your own fraudulent conduct. His resulting silence was significantly more crushing than any desperate verbal outcry. The ensuing legal process was deliberate but resolutely unwavering. My attorney ensured my financial liability was comprehensively dissolved. The forged documents and the fraudulent loans were unambiguously assigned solely to him. His credit profile was utterly devastated, his local reputation entirely compromised. I, conversely, emerged completely absolved. The lending institution officially recognized me as a victim of his crime, not as an accomplice. Utilizing a substantial reserve I had shrewdly insulated in a private account he never knew existed, I executed a lease agreement on a new dwelling, modest, secure, and unequivocally my own. Months afterward, I intentionally drove past the former house. A clear for sale sign was prominently positioned in the yard, the windows dark. My husband stood alone on the porch, his posture defeated, engaged in a futile exchange with a property agent. His car had been repossessed. His name was now circulated throughout the community with a mixture of pity and disdain. He noticed my presence. Our eyes briefly connected. His mouth initiated a movement, but no sound was produced. I lowered the driver's window marginally, my voice calm, deliberate, and entirely conclusive. You liquidated my aspiration, Adam. Now, you are condemned to inhabit the resulting nightmare. Then, I accelerated, never glancing backward. Presently, when acquaintances inquire about my newfound sense of lightness, I offered the unvarnished truth. Betrayal is not a final chapter. It is a necessary, illuminating disclosure. He erroneously presumed his brilliance and my subsequent disintegration. But when he affixed his signature to those documents, he unintentionally signed away his own final vestiges of control.